Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 17th episode of Little More Closer. I am Rafath, and I am a psychotherapist at Positive Perspective. I do individual therapy and group counseling. And today we have with us Ms. Aarathi Selvan. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Aarthi. I'm the founder director at Positive Perspective. I'm also a clinical psychologist, also a counseling psychologist, and a supervisor and mentor teacher at PAUSE and around the city. Yeah.
Okay. So today's Valentine's Day. It's 14th of February. And we are sitting here, two therapists, and the topic of today's conversation happens to be decentering romantic love. Um, and what do you have to say about that? Like, what do you think that topic means? Why did we come up with this?
hmm Um, so when I think about decentering romantic love, I mean, um, I suppose we need to sort of define romantic love. And what I'm alluding to really when I say romantic love is this sort of conventional idea, cis heteronormative idea of, things like one true love, my one
Mhm.
true love exists somewhere, and I want to make this person the center of my life. And
Yeah,
if I do something like that, then I get to, you know, be whoever I am without filters, without care for how it is that I'm showing up for them. We have these ideas of
yeah.
this very cis heteronormative. I think any Bollywood movie or any of those sort of regional movies around,
Rom-coms
love,
and
if
those
you see.
Disney movies, all of those talk about finding the perfect one, the Mr. Right,
Yes.
happily ever afters, and all those
Yes.
things.
Yes.
And as you said, all of these things kind of make love the center of an individual's life. Like it becomes the somewhat like the meaning that we give to our lives becomes everything about this person, this relationship, or this perfect one. Um, yeah, and
And it also
yeah,
makes sort of this kind of love. It's not just makes love the center. I mean,
mm,
it would be so great if we all made
mm,
love the center of our lives. It's a very specific kind of love that we're making the center of our lives. And that's what we want to be able to sort of decenter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, very interestingly, what you just said, we are not decentering love altogether. We are decentering this specific kind of love that people are looking for. That very Disney rom-comish, mushy uh, kind of love that seems to be a reason for a lot of disappointment in people's life. That I'm not able to find that perfect one. Not able to find this perfect relationship. Is it even worth it? Or I don't deserve this. Um, and I have these conversations with a lot of my clients who talk about, I do. Should I even continue? Because what's the point? It's not as good as it should be. And where we get this idea is this whole
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
mainstream.
And also exactly. And I think we should sort of say a little bit more about what it is that this sort of romantic love we are talking about. Do you have other ideas of the cis heteronormative type of love that we are talking about? I already spoke about this idea of one true love,
Yeah,
and also this idea of there needs to be no conflict in my relationship.
yeah,
If there is and the other one is I don't have to say anything and still be understood by my
yeah,
partner.
yeah. You should just
So
know me. You should understand me. And
just
that whole
feel and sense and listen and hear me even if I'm not saying anything.
that's true.
Yeah.
And even how all the movies end at happily ever after. Like you find you do
Yeah.
all the you put all the effort before, and then you find this person, and that's where it ends. But in
Yeah.
reality, that's where it starts.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so many
That's a
ideas
good one.
about
And also, absolutely. And this idea of, within the couples work that we do, also, we know that that's just, like you said, it's the honeymoon phase.
yeah,
Um, And oftentimes the honeymoon phase can last for as long as 3 years, and only then the real relationship begins. And yet, this idea that, this one true love, and the idea of how I need to sort of tug and push and keep working on it also, even if it doesn't work. I think a lot of ideas are present within that sort of conventional idea of my one true love.
Yeah. I mean, it puts so much pressure on this one true love person, no? Like from both the sides to be. And as you said, like you should just understand without communicating. That doesn't exist. I like with one glance, you'll know what's going
Yeah.
on with me, and that's what love is, right? Like understanding. But in reality, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in short, what you just said is we're not trying to decenter love. We're just trying to decenter the ideas around love, the kind of love that people ship, which is unreal. That's what we are trying to decenter.
Yeah.
But
I also want
yeah.
to quickly add, I'm sorry. Um, Also, this kind of conventional love is very gendered in that sense.
Mm,
I think there are subscriptions of how a woman should behave
that's true.
in this heteronormative love, and how a man should behave in a cis heteronormative love. And anything that sort of veers out of this sort of conventional idea of gendered love,
Hmm.
um, we find ourselves grappling with something we don't know how to process then. Yeah.
That's true. And this also reminds me of how an expression of love is also very, um, I don't know, like stereotypical. Like if you get me flowers, if you get me chocolates, if you get me teddy bears, that's what love is. Or else you don't love me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just nice to deconstruct it and open.
Yes.
Um, but to if we had to decenter it, how will that look like? What will decentering this kind of romantic love look like?
Mm, mm,
How to do it basically?
yeah. Um, Even before how to do it, I think it's important to understand what it is that this conventional love does. What are we
Mhm.
actually giving away in centering this kind of cis heteronormative, sort of patriarchal idea of love? What are we giving away?
Yeah.
What we are giving away is, we are introducing ourselves to what we already know, what is already present in media, what is already present in popular culture, and in that we are actually giving away agency. We're giving away what I can define love to be,
Yeah.
right? And I'm giving away this. We're essentially limiting the ideas of love, right? Like if you're saying only one true love exists, then what about my one night stands, or my I don't know, friends with benefits, or all sorts of these other ways in which love is found. And what about love that is polyamorous, perhaps,
Mhm.
you know um and so I think what we are doing when we sort of center and sort of sit within a very structured, this is the only way to be, I think creativity in love uh, gets lost. Our ability to envision what we want for ourselves become lost. And we actually constantly are projecting then
Yeah.
um, what we want instead of what this person that comes into this sort of dynamic, what this person is, who this person is, what do they really want from us, and what can be present possibly.
Yeah.
We kind of limit it to a timeline, right? You fall in
Mhm.
love within our context. I mean, like, if you're lucky, otherwise, then you have to fall in love after your arranged marriage. But if you are lucky, then you fall in love. You fight it out with your parents. If you're like, again lucky, then your parents are accepting. And then there are these ideas of love come arranged, and then then you get married, you have some honeymoon time, and then you're having babies, and then you're dead. right? Like
Then
there
you're
is
dead. That's the end.
and there is a timeline
You're
for
right. I mean,
this,
nobody
and
talks about love after kids. I mean, there is no mainstream idea of continuation of love. Like it ends at marriage and then death.
yeah, we don't want to show you, like seriously. And then it is not love, no, then it is like my duty of being a
Um,
parent, my duty of being a sincere child to
Wife or a
older
husband.
parents.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I have to do my duties of this gendered marriage, and so don't you think we're losing out on, like, what else is there if I decenter this idea,
Mm,
you know um,
yeah.
but you were asking the how of
Hmm.
decentering.
Yes.
um, and I think a lot of us are asking how, like, what else is there. This what else is there is already the process of how, right? Like, if you're asking ourselves, I'm saying I don't want to get married, we're saying then already somebody is already thinking, I want to decenter away from this notion of what everybody is telling me love should look like, right? When you
Yeah.
ask yourself, is marriage, do I want it right now? Um, that's a how already,
Yeah.
right? In discussing, in exposing ourselves to media that is not cis heteronormative, the how is happening already, right? And it is so important to be in conversation with the people that we want to be in love with,
Mm,
to understand and to open up into what else is possible if not for timelining our love, right? These are some of the ways that I can think of.
yeah.
And I think conversation is utter key. And I think one of the things that we find very hard to do is conversations, because
Yeah.
we come again from a very, very gendered idea of love. We come from, I can't, like, these ideas of, I can't talk about what I want, let's say, in sex,
Hmm.
with my partner. I
Hmm.
can't talk about what I want in
Even as basic
perhaps
as
where I want.
emotional connect, I think we don't want to talk about it because it
Yeah.
seems like, oh, why should I ask it? He should just know it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and also this thing, right, that I should not say anything that will hurt the other person,
Mm,
right? Or even, yeah, like whatever, what you already said, just, I should not talk. Why should I have to make the effort of
yeah.
talking and
It should just be
communicating?
known. If you love me, you should
Correct.
know it. I think that's what's happening, right? Like like what you just said. Conversations kind of decenter it, but then no conversations are happening because we are so stuck with these ideas of
Yeah,
centering ourselves in these ideas of love that we never go and that seems like work. That seems like, why should I do it? Well, that's when that's the basic thing to be
yeah,
done.
yeah,
Yeah. And as we were talking, I was thinking, the house of it. I think just identifying these things become the house, right? Like when I know that I am centering myself in these ideas, the next moment I have agency to choose and I have a choice to stay in these ideas or not. And that's the how of it. That's how you decenter it. It's not like a step-by-step process of, oh, I'm not gonna, center love. It's as basic as just holding conversations and identifying these little things that we and this other person might want.
yeah, yeah. And this thing of really um listening to ourselves is not as simple as, in having a conversation, or in communicating about decentering love. um am I then making a choice to stay within these ideas or out of these ideas? I feel like listening to ourselves is so much more than just, um, what do we want to choose, you know um, and I'll talk about that in, like, what are we centering then. But
Mhm.
is that the next question?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Next
I'll come to it.
the next question is, what becomes possible when we decenter love? What these
Mm,
ideas of love, the romantic love, what opens up for us?
mm, mm. You know, it's a scary thing to not know what is there if not for the timeline, right? If not for this timeline of,
Yeah,
love,
yeah,
marry, children, death. If not for that, what is there?
yeah,
It's a very scary proposition, right? Like, and
yeah. Unfamiliar territory.
unfamiliar territory. And most of us are so are constantly bombarded by ideas of how we should live that it's too much of an effort to do that work of acha theek hai, I will just succumb.
Yeah,
And then we also tell ourselves, no, no, it is my choice. Let me succumb happily.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So it's just it's hard to kind of imagine what becomes
I'm just
possible.
thinking if we are succumbing happily, or or that, like it's just too much work to have a different way out. It's just easy this way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And look at the actually it's just frustrating, right? Look at what conventional love is putting us through.
yeah,
It's putting us through, like, if you it's putting us through having to do the work, right? If we don't do this work, then you'll be happy, no, in this conventional work love. So just go go there is sort of the sneaky voice of conventional love.
yeah,
um so yeah, can you imagine just the idea of, no, I need to unpack this presentation, this timeline is so is so difficult that we succumb. This is also the agenda of conventional love.
yeah.
And so we're like, okay, fine, we'll be happy. Let's learn helplessness. No, we'll be happy in this, you know. and and the loss, what are we losing? We're losing potential joy and discovery of a voice, of a shared voice, of a community of people that can hold you in care and love um and presence in ways that we are demanding one person to do,
Yeah.
you know um so
We
when you
said the
ask,
word potential. That's scary, right? Like that means that there's a chance that might not happen. And here we are okay that it's not happening, but it's
yeah,
familiar.
yeah,
But there,
yeah,
we don't want to put in the effort and then see that it's not happening because there's still that potential there.
yeah. And that's the
Potentially
sneakiness
happen.
of conventional love,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
It makes you think that potential is not as good enough as sureness in
Yeah.
what is present in conventional love.
But the
It's all
reality is it
predictable.
present? Even in this, is it present? Hmm.
Can you say that again?
But in reality, is it present in this conventional form also?
That's right. We make do with the script.
Yeah.
It is exactly like scripting a movie. You laugh
Yeah.
at this time, it's written in that script. You laugh. you know?
And yeah, you like it or you don't, you laugh. That's it. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. And you don't have access to, you like it or you don't. I mean, if you had
Mm.
that much access, I think you already begun a fight.
Wow,
Um,
this is meta. This is blowing my mind. Yeah.
as I'm talking about everything, wait, remember, you're a psychologist. Where are you heading with this? Like, yeah, but we'll come to it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'll just smoothly move to the next question. That is, why should we decenter romantic love? I mean, it's just so comfortable. It's just familiar. It's like it's feel good. I would want to continue to succumb, like choose to succumb to this convention. Why should we decenter it? And then what should we center ourselves in then? If we are decentering this, then what are we centering in?
Why should we decenter this kind of conventional love? Um, had some snarky remarks for that, but you know, I don't know. We don't have to. We don't have to decenter conventional love. Um, but I can say why I want to decenter
Mm.
conventional love. I want to decenter conventional love because conventional cis heteronormative patriarchal ideas of love doesn't give voice to and doesn't represent me as a person, right? Like I don't feel
Mm.
like my idea of love is fitting in this. um when let's and I've heard so many people talk about this, right? Like um what is the kind of a, even I mean let's what is the kind of, what is your understanding of love, and what you're met with is always a little bit different, no? I mean, maybe you love, let's say, let's use convention, and we say you love flowers, you love being gifted flowers. The other person perhaps likes writing poetry for you, and you don't get poetry, right? And in that itself, there is a discrepancy, right? And then you're asking yourself, what do I make space for now, right? Do I stay with this notion only, and this as a representative of love, or what else can I ask for, right? So within already the mere fact that we all express and show and want love in different ways means that you have to decenter from
Mm.
and away from a very stereotypical idea of love, right? And which is why conversations then become fundamental. But if you don't have these conversations, you're going to build resentment, and quickly there's going to be criticism, there's going to be hate, there's going to be blame, there's going to be stonewalling, and then you're
Yeah.
going to live in that relationship for the rest of your life, because that's what we Indians most of the time do, right?
Indians, yes.
So,
When you said, when I asked the question and you said we don't have to, a part of me was like, no, I want to. I don't want this boxed idea. I want to do it. And then you said that I would want to personally do it. And the explanation that went forward, that really makes sense, right? Like there is discrepancy that exists. Even if you're saying this is a stereotypical idea, people still have their own ways of doing it. And and when these discrepancies come up, there is a chance of resentment building up because you feel like this is not your way of receiving love or expressing love. And this centered idea is so boxed, so defined, that when you don't fit into that, that makes you feel like you're settling for less, while you're not. You're just choosing what you want for you.
yeah,
And I think that's why we should decenter love,
yeah,
because it's too limiting. And and any way discrepancy exists, anyway it's not real. It seems to be real, but it's not, and that's why we decentered it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Your other question was, what are we centering
What are we
then?
centering then?
I truly believe what we are centering, um, you know, a little bit backtrack. The idea of decentering is also present in mindfulness.
Mm.
Um, when you are able to have access to and observe what is happening in your body, emotions, sensations, and thoughts, you're sitting with that information. You're sitting with the intimacy of you,
Mm.
as present in the body, emotions, sensations, and thoughts. What you are centering is you. What you are centering is what is happening for you in the present moment, right? And what you are centering is honoring, listening to yourself. um, and when you honor listening to yourself, and when you honor that you come from a certain identity location, and that this identity location is bringing up all these ways that my body is responding to this one thing that somebody potential romantic partner said, right? how do I want to honor this ask from my body? What is it actually asking? Um, and to be able to then engage in conversation with yourself, but also with the other person, is what we're centering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautifully put. I mean, I don't know, when you said that I am decentering me and what I want, and I'm just sitting with myself, how little do we do that, right? Like we just make this idea the center that this is what I want. I want to be felt, loved this way. This is what definition of love means. And I don't think we ever reach there, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think we can ever find that when we expect that from someone else. But to give that time to us and to center ourselves and our needs and what we ask for, and then to translate that in a conversation with this another person will potentially or will, give you more than, that you expect without even asking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are, yeah, and so in centering what is happening for me in the here and now, and the here and now is, I talk about how the here and now is this, it's a long, broad and deep here and now, in the sense that who you are is a matter of everything that you've gone through, everything you'll go through, and sort of that, who and the identity locations that you hold, right? And in centering all this, and in centering it through the body, emotions, sensations, and thoughts that are coming up right now, um, what also becomes possible is, um, again, like these ideas, like you already said, ideas of love become that possibility that is so scary. It just opens up.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking of how little we do that and how little that's valued. Like nobody does that. We all want this another person to just like know everything without even knowing what we want. How are we expecting these things? Just because we have seen this, just because these messages are floating around us, we end up
Yeah.
believing in this.
Yeah, and
Um,
that the other person, the other,
mm,
there is often this idea, and also in a lot of theories within love itself, there is this idea that we're looking to heal our wounds, in
mm,
meeting this person.
yeah,
Um, and while some of it is not entirely untrue, we do want to be in relationships that heal us and not traumatize us.
yeah.
Um, we need to build intimacy, enough intimacy with our own selves,
Mm,
um, also, right? To, like you said, to know and define the sort of landscape of what it is that I'm looking for and what it is that I'm wanting. And it's not like, first one thing comes and the other thing comes. I think it's this ongoing possibility of conversation with ourselves and with the
yeah,
other persons. Yeah.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. We're almost at the end of this conversation. Here we are, two therapists sitting on Valentine's Day and talking about decentering, something as important for people as love. How was it, Aarti, to have this conversation with me today?
Mm. Already, the fact that we're doing this on Valentine's Day is us decentering conventional love, and us talking about it. Is reminding me of our hopes for love itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminding me that it's not. It's like you began this conversation, right? It's not that we are decentering love itself. I think love is so important. That sort of, yeah, it's just so important. And but we are asking for something that is, you know, broader and deeper. Um, yeah, and so just in here, in having this conversation, I feel grounded. Yeah, and I feel glad to have had this conversation with you.
Yeah. Even for me, I think I enjoyed it thoroughly. I laughed a lot. Uh, and I'm actually feeling quite hopeful. I also am feeling like something opened up about like some possibilities opened up, even though scary. But I would really want to try. I would want to see how decentering feels like, how sitting with myself would feel like. It just seems very exciting to do this thing that we just spoke about, right? And yeah, that's how I feel. And it was a pleasure to do this today with you. Um,
Thank you so
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching till the end. Please share your thoughts in the comments and let us know about other topics that you want us to discuss in the future episodes of Little More Closer. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Yeah, goodbye.
much. See you. Yeah.